I'm Lindsay Ferrier from CafeMom, and today I'm standing in front of Newt Gingrich's press bus. Wherever Newt goes on the campaign trail, this bus follows. And it's filled with reporters from places like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNN. These are the people who bring you the stories of the presidential candidates. So we wanted to take you behind the scenes and show you what they have to go through to get these stories, what it's actually like on the campaign trail. It's going to be a very long day for us. Right now it's 8:15. We're going to be on this bus all day long, going to lots of different events. The final event ends at 8 o'clock tonight. So without further ado, let's get on board. The press bus is equipped with wireless internet, so it's kind of like a mobile office for the press corps. Wondering where Newt is? Well, he's got his own bus. Surprisingly, these reporters don't have much more access to Newt than the general public. He takes a few of their questions every couple of days, and that's it. Our first stop is a rally in Dalton. North Georgia is Republican territory, and Newt's leading in the polls here, so I expect turnout to be pretty good. And I'm right, sort of. The people are packed in, but the room isn't the biggest the convention center has to offer. It's just big enough to make a few hundred people look like an army on television.
This is quite a crowd.
Newt's topic for these supporters? Gas prices. Today he pledges that as president, he'll return gas to $2.50 a gallon. And he begins his speech with a joke he heard on the campaign trail the day before.
I know what Obama's 999 plan is. He said it's $9.99 a gallon for gasoline.
The gas speech plays well here, convincing mom of three, Amy Phillips, that Newt deserves her vote.
You know, as a politician, I feel like he's on track, and I think he's the one that can save our country.
A few hundred handshakes later, Newt's back on the road, and so are we. After a few more hours spent on the bus, it's now afternoon, and we're in Rome, Georgia at an airport hangar where locals have turned out to hear what Newt has to say. This time, the crowd is filled with parents and children. Christy Burt-Orr has brought all three of her kids along.
They're just now big enough to really see, and understand the importance of voting and of campaigning and trying to select the perfect candidate or the best candidate. And so we just thought it was important today to come out and see this in real life.
She's not sure yet which candidate will get her vote, but she's very clear about the changes the next president needs to make.
We'd really, really like to change our tax system. We feel like we work really, really hard and things are being taken away from us to give to people who don't work as hard as we do. And we feel like we're not in as good of a place as we were before we even had children. And we've continued to work hard and build a strong family, and we want to pass that on to our kids the best we can.
Newt arrives and immediately notices the number of kids in the crowd.
Who is the young lady up there waving a flag? Reagan Orr. Hello, Reagan Orr.
He quickly tailors his gas speech to appeal to parents.
I thought it was worth recognizing them for a minute because they really are what this campaign should be all about.
And this crowd is eating it up.
He said he wants us to pay $9.99 a gallon for gasoline.
But the day is clearly taking a toll. Newt seems tired here in Rome, and at one point, he almost has an oops moment.
The president said that he is against having a silver bullet. He said there's no silver bullet that'll fix this. And I said, that's right, but there's a presidential pen.
The slip isn't lost on these reporters. They agree Newt's energy level has dropped since our CafeMom forum with him in Iowa, right along with his standing in the polls. And his weight, they say, has gone up. Several of these reporters talk to me about Newt with what I can only call tenderness. And while it's surprising, it actually makes sense. Many of them have been recording Newt's every move for months. How can they not get at least a little attached to their subject? We're headed now to event number 3, and I have to say I'm pretty tired. But I've got nothing on some of the reporters on board this bus. Some of them have been following Newt pretty much every day since October. And I think at this point they could practically say his speeches for him. Now, a lot of these candidate embeds are young and single, and this year is the opportunity of a lifetime for them. As one photographer told us this morning,
Every day I have a chance to make history. We're now at our final stop of the day, West Georgia College. This is a nostalgic stop for Newt. He began his career here as a professor. Now he's returning as a presidential candidate.
But he's not exactly a hometown hero. When Newt takes the stage, the cheers in the audience are accompanied by some booing. Undeterred, Newt once again launches into his $2.50 a gallon stump speech, complete with the joke I can now recite word for word.
He said it is $9.99 a gallon for gasoline.
As with the last two speeches, Newt doesn't take questions from the audience, and that's disappointing to students like Brian Nunez.
And I wanted to ask him, why do you support making English the official language of the United States when you ironically use emails and other forms of communication in Spanish in order to encourage Latinos to vote for you? Don't you think that's kind of hypocritical? So I wanted to ask him that. It's just like you say one thing, but then you do the other. So I just feel like he's going to do that if he is elected president. So
Newt's big ideas make some of these kids want to take a closer look.
It was pretty interesting things he said. I'm going to, of course, go fact check it, of course, but he made some compelling points.
Others are even more convinced that Newt's not for them.
I don't think he could win my vote. I think we're too different on the political spectrum, and he obviously represents the old guard of Washington. I don't think that someone who's been in the Washington culture for as long as he can be a reformer.
Finally finished for the day, Newt heads down a back hall and returns to his bus. Meanwhile, the press corps is still going strong, filing stories and swapping them between the seats as the bus heads back to its starting point in Atlanta, an hour and a half away.
It is 11 o'clock and we are still on the bus. By the time it's all said and done, we will have spent 15 hours on the campaign trail today, and this crew will be back here again tomorrow morning at 8:30. I think one day is quite enough for me, though. For CafeMom, I'm Lindsay Ferrier.